Hello, fellow lights and light travelers. This week's reading brings forth a message from Spirit about where you are now, where you've been in the past, and the legacy that you are building for the future in this present moment. So, I hope you like the reading. Sending you all lots of light and love. Enjoy your legacy of light. While you're here, don't forget to like, comment, share, and subscribe. Enjoy your reading. Hello, fellow lights and light travelers. Welcome again once more to Light Journeys Tarot. This week I wanted to see what would come through as far as advice for the collective. So if you're here, take what resonates, leave the rest. Spirit wants to bring through some messages, some words, some advice for your highest good and the highest good of all. Let's go ahead and connect and see, like always, you have the power, you have the ultimate will, right? This is your life, so don't take anything here as set in stone or, that you can't control your fate, because you can. This is meant to come through. Take it as entertainment, take it as education, take what resonates, leave the rest, and take what's in your best good, your highest good, right? And lead always, always, always in your decisions from your heart space. Lead with love. And trust that you can set the highest path for yourself. With that being said, let's go ahead and connect and see what advice Spirit wants to bring through. I'm going to go ahead and use the Dark Mansion Tarot deck. Let's get into it. All right, Spirit, what words of advice would like to come through for this collective? What words of advice? What wants to come through for the highest good of the collective here whenever they stumble across this video? What words of advice? What advice is coming through? Okay, fill in the call to stop. Strength. Knight of Pentacles. And the Six of Cups. Beautiful. Let's get into it. So with the Strength card, this is something that normally talks to vitality, empowerment. What I love about Strength cards often is there's the interplay of the different forms of strength, right? So it's not just brute power. Oftentimes it comes in quietly and gently, the way I perceive this. This has been you. So in your life, right, past, present, future, you have always been holding, it almost feels like the person who has had to silently carry forward, carry on, get on with things. You are the individual who maybe at times has had to shoulder a lot of responsibility, and you've done so in a quiet and dignified manner. You're not someone who has been like, oh, look at me, I'm taking on all this stuff. You've just gone in with what needs to be done, right? Very much that I want to say like that older child architect, right? The older sibling that just, is the one that carries the thing or whatever it is. And it's not necessarily saying that you are this or that. But as an individual, the sense that I feel for this collective that is connecting with this is the individual that silently carries, moves forward, has to shift in making sure that things get pushed along, but does so in such a quiet, gentle strength, right? Like you are not, you think strength, people like stereotypically will think like, muscles and pushing and screaming and violence. Like not you. You have been a very dignified individual that is so strong internally and has had that balance and has carried this in their lives. So much so that it almost looks like the things that you've had to deal with, whether they be big things that some people would see as insurmountable or dangerous or full of energy that felt like, you know what I mean? Like, oh my God, that's such a daunting task. Or, wow, you've been through so much in your life. You've been there like, yeah, I've got this. And I'm drawn right to this infinity symbol right here. This is perhaps something that you feel you've learned in this lifetime, but I feel like this is infinitely part of who you are as a character. You have always carried a gentle strength, and you have always, perhaps in past lifetimes, or maybe in this lifetime, you learned that lesson early to flow and carry that strength in such a quiet, dignified way that you didn't have to meet everything with volatility. You've moved in this life and in past lifetimes with such an air and a dignity of, I'm going to get done what needs to get done, and it's going to be okay. Like, I have the strength to carry it. It's almost like it, to others, it appears like easeful. This almost feels like to you, sometimes you're like, yeah, here we go again, hand on the chin. I've got this, whatever comes along, I'm going to handle it, because that's how I deal with things. And these things that come into your life or that you have dealt with, you've managed to tame, you've managed to, maneuver, to, I want to say getting cohesion is the word that's coming to me. You've managed to manage the situation, right? You've turned it around. You've made it from a situation that for some people could be something that overtakes them, but you tame the situation and you're able to move forth with this grace and elegance. And this has been you, and essentially, that's your character, but this has been a lot of the past energy that you have brought forth as of so far. So yeah, interesting. Let's keep moving and see what the cards have to say. With the Knight of Pentacles, right, that is that earth energy. So it is grounded, it is steady, think of like that Taurus type energy. What this feels like, the advice that's coming through in this present moment, is that success, right? The abundance, the material, however that's going to manifest for you, however it is that you're seeing success, is coming, but it is a slow, steady process. And this is inviting you to not rush that process, to trust that these things take time, to trust that you are taking the right steps, to trust that you are moving towards a progression, towards success in however it is that you see it. Oftentimes this is materialistic, but this is asking in this present moment to trust the steadiness. This is not a horse that's rushing forward, right? Trust that you're being carried on your journey. And what I like about this is sometimes when things get rushed, the foundation doesn't set quite well, right? If you rush building a house, you can miss things, the foundation is off kilter, they miss, support beam, or, it's off kilter, or they don't properly insulate something and mold can come in, right? However it is, right? If you rush the process and then you don't go through your checks and balances to make sure that that has been securely built, oftentimes you're going to pay down the road. This energy, while it might feel like, oh, I don't want to deal with the steady things. I want it to come faster. I want it to come faster. This feels stronger in the foundation that's being built. So it's gently asking you, and the advice that it's giving you, if you so choose to take it, right? Take what resonates and leave the rest. And at the end, you have the ultimate power. But this is inviting you to trust the steady progress, and to trust that you're making that progress, and to trust yourself and these steady movements that the universe has you and that you have you, and that you're making the right forward ground step by step, okay? To trust this. Let's see. I'm almost drawn to, right? It looks like both the horse and the man, it feels like stopping to smell the roses is what's coming into my mind. So like as this progress is slow and steady and building something, It feels like the invitation is to, you've been so strong, you've managed these things, whatever's come through and whatever will come through, you've got the ability to transmute, right, and to handle. And in this case now you're being asked, okay, this work that you've done in mastering a lot of these things that have gone in your life, trust that there's a steady progress. And also stop and smell the roses. Like, look at the process and the progress that you've made, right? This feels like this is abundant rolling hills. This isn't a bleak, it doesn't feel bleak. It's not a bleak future that you're building, right? And even in this moment, there's no storms. There's clear skies. So while it may feel frustrating, right? You are on solid ground, okay? And yes, this is like a cliff you're looking over. This feels like you're steadily working towards a new horizon, a new adventure, a new chapter, okay? This almost looks like you're surveying the land. So this, right, speaking of the house analogy, so I don't know if maybe you're wanting to build a house, maybe you're building towards like some type of home security, like as far as, looking to get a house or making a move or stability in your workplace, right? But this feels like this is a clean slate and you're surveying the land to then take the steps of building what you're building. So be it metaphorical or literal, right? This is essentially leading into the fact that, like, survey, look at what you want, take stock of where you're wanting to go, right? You are manifesting this step by step. And the future is yours, right? Like, you can choose, right? This is a clean slate. And then trust, stop, smell the roses, like breathe in that fresh air, connect with yourself and connect and see like what it is that I want to build, right? Because this shows you that you have the power to build. This is you like steadily surveying, right? This is like the pentacle is tucked underway and you're looking at this and you're like, this, this either will all be mine, or I'm going to take that plot of land over there and I'm going to build something for myself and I'm going to do it step by step. And this is going to be so sturdy and earthbound and grounded and solid that this is something that's going to last me and beyond me. Like what I am building, what I am creating creatively, in your life, physically, mentally, whatever it is that you're creating in this positive, heartfelt way is going to be something that lasts and perhaps even has an impact beyond your time. So stop and smell the roses and, trust that there's clear weather and you're building something. You're building something solid. You're building something presently for the future and beyond, right? What you are building is impactful. Beautiful. And allow yourself, because you are doing the work, like they said, to sometimes just stop and smell the roses. Just stop sometimes. Just stop and breathe. It's okay. Like what I'm building is going slow and steadily progressing because I'm building something that's meant to last. It's interesting that this goes into the future position for the Six of Cups, because oftentimes this deals with like memories, but also harmony. So what I'm feeling, right, which has come forth in this message, is about building, about navigating things that come along and then building. So this feels like what you are building is two things: inspired by memories, so perhaps inspired by people in your life or things that you've wanted to bring forth, but it also feels like this will be something that lasts in both your memory and other people's memories. This is something that is going to create, that's going to be looked upon and enjoyed, perhaps in family lineages, perhaps, by strangers. I don't know. You could be, building a library that has an impact on the people in your community. You could be You could be, in building some type of creative endeavor that touches people's hearts and souls. You could be, writing books or, making artwork, right? Like, I actually saw a video the other day that somebody had taken like a cartoon drawing of Van Gogh, and he had his, I think it's Van Gogh, that had his ear missing. Is that the artist? Or Picasso? Oh, I don't know. Okay. You know what? Let me take a quick pause and look it up so I'm using a correct analogy. Give me a second. Okay, so Vincent Van Gogh. I was right. I was right the first time. Okay. So in this video that I saw, right, somebody had drawn a picture of Vincent Van Gogh, and it was like this interactive picture, right? So it shows him with an injured ear, and then the person comes up and they are drawing, putting medicine on his ear, and then, writing these messages of hope and love, and, they're healing him and they're bandaging him and they're doing all these things, and then they're speaking words of love into his heart. You're good enough. The things that you are creating, you think you're a failure, but you're not. You're not a failure. You're going to go forth and, long after you've left this specific experience, this existence as Vincent Van Gogh, people will look upon your work and be touched and be moved and see the beauty and in what you created and what you left behind, and how you expressed yourself, the beauty that you brought into this world by being yourself and expressing yourself. And this feels very much that, right? In what you are building, you are creating a ripple effect, a positive ripple effect, if you so choose to move from your heart. And that could also be like, right, think about what you're building. That could also be the advice. Think about what you're building. Stop, check the temperature, smell the roses. See if you're building from a place of love. See if you're building from a place of security, because what you are building is going to last, and it's going to last in people's memories. So what sort of memory do you want to leave for people? How do you want to be remembered? Like, it makes me think of Hamilton, which is like here and there, right? Like it's a yes and a no, right? So the part, who lives, who dies, who tells your story, right? In the play written by Lin-Manuel Miranda, and in real life, right, Hamilton's wife went on to, make an orphanage and do all these things and try to make an impact because of the children that her and Hamilton had made, and, probably in honor of her son as well as her husband. How are you affecting people with what you are doing in this world? Are you leading from a place of cohesion? Are you working to build in love and high vibration? And I'm sure you are, you know what I mean? Like I put out for the highest vibration, and we're all able to lead, and we all have it in us, like every single one of us. Like I can't deny the fact that I feel, no matter who, right? And there's people in this world that I'm, not crazy about. But I know that even those people want love, seek connection. It is the core, essential thing of who we are as light beings, of who we are as heart-centered beings. And people can tell themselves a story. I don't care. I've been hurt, this, that, da, 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 da. At the end of the day, right, the essential thing that unites us is love, that drives us is love or lack thereof, right? Is connection or lack of connection. So in this thing that you are building, what are the intentions that you're putting into it, right? You have a clear slate, you have clear skies. So what is it that you're building, and how is it that you want to be remembered, okay? Because this is going to bring memories. And, regardless, and I was watching another thing the other day about honoring your ancestors. You can, you will one day be an ancestor, right? So in this being an ancestor, how do you want to be remembered, right? Like, we can speak to, or I'll speak to myself, right? My heritage, both sides of my family, paternal, maternal, is Puerto Rican, right? So my parents, each of them, right, with the Puerto Rican people, have the ancestry of Taino, which is the indigenous people to the island of Borinquen, what people call Puerto Rico, Spanish, because those were the colonizers that came in, and then African, which were the slaves that were brought to the island, when Christopher Columbus crashed there and said he found the Americas and said he found India, and et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. Regardless, looking at my ancestry, right, there is a multitude of ancestors to look upon, right? There were people that possibly owned slaves, and then there were people that were slaves themselves, and then there were the indigenous people that were, harmed, nearly wiped clean, right? And we know that it's not true that they weren't wiped clean, because I carry that genetic within me, right? I have like 21% indigenous within me, and many people on the island do as well, at different varying percentages. But the point being, I can look at those ancestors and, two things. I can look at the strength of the people that survived and carried on and made it to be, where I am now, a flourishing individual, who's educated, read, write, bachelor's, master's degree, etc. Maybe one day doctorates, we'll see. Thriving, living, existing, being here as a light to help others, to show them their strength, right? I can look to their strength and honor that strength and carry it forward and spread it throughout the world. I can also look at those ancestors that maybe were colonizers that did horrible things and say, that is not something I'm inspired to not be like that. And I'm inspired to try to make a positive impact in this world. To try to, yes, I didn't do it, and no, my grandparents didn't do it, and probably my great-great-grandparents didn't do it. I don't know how far back it goes. But at some point, there's a possibility. So I am here. I am living this life. I can choose to be a light. I can choose to connect my light with other people's lights and say, we've got this, and we can join together, and we can love one another, and we can make a positive impact in this world, right? So all circling back to essentially say, right, you are building something that's going to outlast you. All of your actions will outlast you, right? Like being kind to the environment, cleaning up after yourself, not throwing trash out your window, being kind to people as they go past you, right? Like not putting that negative energy out in the world. You are making an impact. And then that's going to be carried forth. Like what kind of memory, vibration, frequency do you want to put out? Is there something physical that you're building? Are there homes? Are there communities? Are there charities? Are you cleaning the world? Like, are you cleaning the rivers? Are you helping pick up trash along the roadside? So that what gets left and what is remembered of you, or the impact of you, and we all can make a strong impact. Trust me, never let them think that your impact is not important, because it is. How are you going to be remembered in the future? How do you choose to be remembered? And looking at this card, connecting with this card, it feels like a fondness. It feels like people are going to look back on what you built and how you moved through this world, and they're going to be inspired. They're going to look back and think of you, and there's just going to be this love, this way of speaking, of saying, this person was grounded. They communicated so beautifully. They left these messages. They left this impact in this world, this beautiful way, Perhaps it's familial legacy. Perhaps it's just, maybe you were kind to someone and they'll remember you. That one time I needed advice and they came to you and you were there. You know what I mean? Like, whatever this is, it feels like your future is going to be, and the possibility of your future, right? This is your choice to live how you want to, but the possibility says that people will look back on memories of you with fondness in the future, and they will say, wow, what a beautiful soul to have lived. that what a beautiful light, and look at how they spread their light in this world, and I'm so grateful to have known them, or I'm so grateful to have been impacted by what they did, because they cared enough to care, because they cared enough to navigate, you know, the hard things that came in this world, and then they set aside and they took the advice to stop and smell the flowers, and they built something with intention and with heart and with groundedness that, wow, look at how grateful are we that this person came before us, and how beautiful they've made this world for us and for future people going forward. And then it'll be upon them to carry your legacy and to build upon your legacy. So that's gorgeous and that's beautiful. Okay, so let's go ahead and pull some oracle cards and see if there's anything else, other advice that Spirit has for you. All right. All right, the first oracle deck I'm drawn to is the Mary Magdalene Oracle. Let's go ahead and see what messages come through. Please do take what resonates, leave the rest. I hope that this message comes through, and I set the intention that this message comes through for you, regardless of, you know, religious, non-religious, spiritual, non-spiritual background, right? Just the message will come through with the highest intention and love. So let's go ahead and see what wants to come through from the Mary Magdalene Oracle. All right, Spirit, what message would like to come forth for this collective who are currently building? What advice coming through for these people, for these souls, for these lights that are shaping at this current moment the futures for themselves and for many others due to their actions? What message would like to come through? Okay, trusting the stop. The Anointed. I rise with only more soul. All right, beautiful. Let's see. That's gorgeous. All right, let's see. I'll place this right here. And let's get the guidebook. All right, and this says, one of the most significant names used to identify Christ by the earliest group of people to document his teachings was the Greek word Christos, which means someone anointed with oil, or simply the anointed. After Mary Magdalene anoints Christ with the spikenard, I want to say, and washes his feet with her hair before his crucifixion, Christ says in the Gospel of Matthew, quote, I tell you, wherever in the whole world this good news is proclaimed, what this woman has done will be told in memory of her. End quote, Matthew 26:13. Wow. Okay, so I'm feeling, before we continue reading, that the works and the things that you do in this world, however that manifests, however that comes forth, the good news, this woman has done will be told in memory of her. So we're speaking of memory. Thank you, Spirit, for coming through. I'm not going to get mushy. This is actually very moving. Yes. So what you're going to do, if you so lead with love, will be something that you are remembered for. When Judas is horrified that Mary wastes such an excessive amount of oil, Christ explains that it was actually good, and it was intended that Mary save this oil to prepare for his burial. It was intended. This was what had been intended all along. Mary Magdalene was the one who was meant to assist Christ in this transition from this life to the next. The ornate jar Mary holds in so many of the paintings and icons of her is filled with holy oil used to anoint the body before burial. The priests and priestesses of the Egyptian goddess Isis anointed the body as a way to assist the transition from this life to the next while remaining conscious. Okay, so that is, I want to stop and say, in this process, one does not have to wait for the end to move into a state of conscious living, of loving, of existing, right? You can do that here. You can do that now. You can do that with your intention, so that you are then thus, right? And it's not that I want to do this because I want to be remembered, but it feels like in setting those pure loving intentions, you will be remembered, you know? And it just, the earth will remember, the birds will remember, your family will remember, your friends will remember, the river will remember, however it is, right? The loving impact you set out will be remembered, and it will be felt. The ripple effect will be felt. And if we see the resurrection narrative as a metaphor, the anointing ritual becomes the passage from the death of the ego to the limited egoic self, into the expansive realm of the soul. This is the transformation of consciousness at the heart of the Christian tradition, and Mary Magdalene is the one who shows us the way. And please don't feel that if you are not Christian or you don't follow it, or that just leading by your heart is, this is a message that can come through for you. Or if this part does not resonate, please do feel free to leave what does not resonate, right? Anointing, then, in its original context, is the act of consciously acknowledging that the physical body passes away, but the soul within the body does not. You are that light. We are here on Light Journeys. You are that light, that soul, whatever you want to call it. That is you. That is your essence. It is love. It is light, and it is a part of Source or God or whatever you want to call it, right? And each time we consciously die to the ego, each time we allow ourselves to die to what we were in order to rise more aware of the soul of who we are now, we are anointed. And we do this in memory of her. Soul voice meditation. What aspect of my soul am I aware of in this moment? Beautiful. Beautiful, beautiful, beautiful message. Thank you, Spirit. Okay. The other deck I was called to use was the Mystical Shaman Pocket Oracle. Let's go ahead and see what message wants to come forth for the collective. All right, Spirit. What other message would like to come forth for this collective? Advice, messages. What else would like to come forth for this collective? What other message? Okay, trusting the sop. Fire. All right. Fire, fire, fire. Let's see what the fire wants to bring forth. I'm going to put that right here. Let's see. So in this guidebook, they have the invitation and the medicine. I'm not going to read the medicine. I'll pause it up and I'll hold it to the screen if you want to, but normally you read the medicine when it's reversed. I'm going to read the essence and the invitation, okay? Fire. Fire consumes anything that it touches. The flames remind us of the impermanent nature of reality and how situations can quickly transform into beauty or chaos. Fire is passion, and its dancing flames invite us to reach to the sky. Warmth and light are heavenly, yet too much heat can scorch us. To fully step into the energy of fire is to be utterly transformed, like the phoenix rising from the ashes. The invitation. Warm your hands and warm your hands and your heart by your inner fire. Let it burn away your hardships. Wow. So I was talking about the things that you've been through. Okay. Thank you, Spirit. Let it burn away your hardships. Let it consume your pain and your sorrow. Has life become too rigid, too cold, or too superficial? Light a candle or make a bonfire. Do so safely. Please only do things safely, or don't, right? Light a candle or make a bonfire and toss into the flames everything that has become stiff and painful. And you could just do this metaphorically as well. You don't have to actually write. This could be a metaphor. You could think about it in your mind. Please just be safe. Give it all to the fire for rapid transformation. Set your life on fire. Two things. One, please be safe, and please don't actually do fires. And just, take it as a metaphor. Second, there is a song in the beginning of one of the songs. I love it. Love it, love it, love it, love it. Because the quote says, when there's nothing left to burn, you have to set yourself on fire. Now, not literally, please do not ever do that. We don't want any harm. I do not endorse that. What I'm trying to say is, when the old version of yourself is no longer serving, right? When that chapter has been completed, punctuation, end of story, completed sentence, what has been, what needed to be said has been said, what needed to be completed has been completed, and you are ready into that next chapter to clean slate, right? Set that old version of yourself into the past. Set those old limitations that don't serve you. Let it metaphorically imagine yourself as the phoenix rising from the ashes. The hardships, the things that have happened in your life. You are meant to transform and to create and to build anew and to leave a legacy of love, of strength, of gentle strength, of intention, of kindness, of heart-led things, so that you make an impact by being you, by living your truest life, by being your truest self, right? Taking that fire and using it to create, right? The wands are fire, the creation, the creative energy. This could metaphorically be saying, what you are building with intention, what you are creating, this feels like it goes like this and like this, right? The things that you are putting intention to and slowly building and creating right now are going to have such an impact and will leave such a memory. So this is your invitation. The advice is to create, to steady yourself, to set intention, to stop and smell the roses, to see how far you've come, and know that the things that burdened you do not need to come forth with you anymore. Those chapters are finished. Now is the time of the clean slate, of the starting new, of the moving forward, of the creating, so that you can then leave an impact in this world by living your heart life truly, freely, and fully as yourself, with intention and love and care, that it will be looked upon by your friends, by your family, by the universe, by the planet, as having been a good life, as having been an impactful life, as having been a way shower, a light in this world that has made such a beautiful impact that it's going to be ripple effects that are felt for a long, long time past your being here on this planet, which I hope is still for many, many more long years to come. All right. If you so choose to read the medicine, I'll hold it here. I'll pause it. Go ahead and pause it so that you can read it. Hold a little closer. And yeah, I feel like this has been a beautiful, beautiful, beautiful reading. Be proud of yourself. Take time to realize what you're building. Give yourself patience and grace, and know that if you lead with intentionality, with heart, with love, the things that you are building and doing will be remembered and will be smiled upon and will be spoken about and will be looked upon fondly. You are anointed, you are guided, you are loved, you are cherished, and you are important, and the things that you are doing with love in this world is important. And believe that and know that, because Spirit decided to make sure that it came through for you today, so that you receive that message, you receive that acknowledgement, you receive that encouragement. So yeah, thank you for letting me read for you. Thank you all for being here. I appreciate your time. I appreciate your energy. I send you all lots of light. Go out to this world, be those lights on your light journey. Spread love, light, joy, connection. And I look forward to seeing you all at the next reading. Bye.